Welcome to the Tao of Pizza, where we feature top logistics leaders, entrepreneurs, and supply chain innovators and share their inspiring stories with a holistic twist.
Mark Hiddleson here, host of the Tao of Pizza podcast, where I talk with top industry innovators in the warehousing, logistics, and supply chain business with a holistic twist. Before introducing today's guest, which is a gift, thank you, Leanne. This episode is brought to you by Specialized Storage Solutions, Inc. Look, I've been in the logistics and storage industry for several decades. We provide industry-leading warehouse storage solutions nationwide. So basically, if you have a warehouse that needs racks, shelving, carts, conveyors, or mezzanines, we help with the design, engineering, installation, inspections, and repairs to help clients optimize their logistics operations. And it's funny, Leanne, sometimes people don't even realize we can actually help with permit acquisition services as well. We take a holistic look at your entire business supply chain to develop the resources for continually improving your operation. To learn more, visit our website at specialracks.com or give us a call at 707-732-3892. I even give out my personal email for podcast listeners. So email me at markhiddleson@aol.com if you're ready to take your warehouse storage and retrieval systems to the next level. Well, today's guest is Leanne Monaghan. And at age 59, Leanne is in the best shape of her life. She's defeated cancer, mitigated health problems like thyroid and menopausal issues, and she personally knows how hard aging can be. Determined to overcome cancer, she supported a conventional medicine approach with a healthy living approach. She embraced the practices of clean eating, hydrotherapy, detoxing, and Pilates as a means to support her recovery journey. She's been cancer-free since 2003. Leanne was also raised in a family with alcoholism and addiction issues and has had to deal with the repercussions firsthand. She's also faced her own demons with weight and addiction. She now uses food as fuel, medicine, and enjoyment. Now Leanne works to help others work alongside each other, passionate people in a system of mutual support to manifest the lives of their dreams. Leanne, welcome to the Tao Pizza.
Oh, Mark, thank you so much. I'm so honored and privileged to be a guest on your podcast today. Thank you.
Yeah, and I have to mention first, we were introduced by Vicky Delajoyo, who has been a master teacher of mine luckily for 20 years. She's just an amazing coach, Women's Hall of Fame martial arts instructor, the host of the Chi Talks. And what a great introduction. I'm really grateful for Vicky.
As am I. She's been very pivotal in my healing journey, working with her as a power presenter. She's my mentor. And it's not just about learning how to be a power presenter, but the way that she gives you space and hears you when you're starting to tell your story. It takes your healing to a whole other level. So, Vicky, she's very close to my heart.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I've hosted her on 2 other interviews. And so people, if you're listening to this, I'll put a link to those episodes too in the show notes of this episode so people can check that out. So I was curious when we were introduced and I looked at your companies, and I was curious if you were always in the health and wellness industry or how you got started.
Oh, that's a great question, Mark. All right, to be perfectly honest with you, I have been in the fitness space for over 40 years. I started, yes, in the era where we wore the G-strings on the outside of our pants with the leg warmers. I was one of those instructors. Oh my goodness. So I've been on a journey through many decades, seeing a lot of fitness trends come and go. And yeah, it's always been part of my life.
Awesome. So back then, your competitors would have been like Richard Simmons, right?
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I would consider, that I have to, because I was an amateur athlete and I really started training seriously for sports when I was 12 or 13. So I would, I've been passionate about that as well, not professionally, but as an amateur athlete, just fascinating. Well, that's a great. So, how did you? Where did the idea come from? Your one of your top selling programs is Thinking to Results, which promises massive success in body, mind, and soul. So where did that? How did it evolve from G string on the outside?
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
to get to manifestation coach or peak performance coach. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
That's the best segue ever, Mark. That is so good. I love that. I love that. Okay. I I've been training and working with people, as I said, for over 40 years, helping them with their fitness journey and, wellness journey. It doesn't only just mean fitness, but, how to nourish their bodies. And what I was noticing was people would invest all of this money and time in me so that I could coach them along their path. They would achieve their goals. And then it's like, okay, good, Leanne, thanks. I've got this. And I would see them 6 months later, and they would be right back to where they started with me. And I saw this over and over and over again. And not only just with people that I worked with, but because I do have a brick and mortar, I have a gym and I've seen it. And we've been in business now for 19 years. And so it's just the same trend over and over, January, September, those are the two busiest months. Yes, shed the summer sins. Yes, it's, New Year's resolution. And not even 3 months into their membership, they're not even using it anymore. And then plus with me working with people one-on-one, I was becoming very frustrated. I took it on myself. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong with my coaching? What's wrong? How come these people aren't taking all of this information and transformation? Why is it not sticking? And and then that's when I got introduced to mindset work, and my mentor, who has now since passed, Bob Proctor, that was the missing link. It was the mindset piece. These wonderful souls that I had been working with, or the ones that were coming through the doors to the gym, they were on a program. They were set. Their thinking was set. Their self image was set. You know what? I've gained weight. I've lost weight. I've gained weight. I've lost weight. So this program was running in the background all of the time. So they were set there. So let's just say it's like a thermostat in your room. They were set at 72. They started working with me either one-on-one, or they're going to buy a membership, whatever it is. Then they're changing their external, right? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to hire Leanne. So they're changing the external, and they start to do the right things, drink more water, get outside, watching what it is that they're eating, and, they're getting into an exercise routine. So here they are, they're set at 72. They're adding in a bit of willpower, right? So then they're raising the temperature. It's like, oh, okay, I've got the goal. Yes, I've got the goal. That program is still running in the background. So they would reach their goals, but this is where their set point was, like, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, exercise, don't exercise, overeat, deprivation. So this program was still here at 72. They use a bit of willpower and they get the results that they want. Then all of a sudden, a bad weekend. Okay, the temperature gauge goes down. Then it's like, oh, you know what? I haven't exercised for a week. So maybe I'll just don't worry about it. Then the temperature goes down again. And as you and I both know, Mark, like wherever you go, if you're set at 72, whether you go below or whether you go up this way, you always return to 72.
Yeah, it's
And
it's like an operating system. It's funny. I have a dual relationship with programs, because you can also, I've learned a lot of, in how in my evolution was putting in good programs, and then even the good programs start to run amok after a while, because as you add on and adjust, or even things happen, like you say, stress, and you deal with it with that good, when anything that's on autopilot, it can be really good. It's a survival instinct, right? Because a lot, if we had to think about every single thing, every food we ate, would be just way too much. So but the programs can take on their own a meaning, in a program that starts out good, like a money. A lot of how I've earned money has been like, I kind of have a program set mindset for creating income, but it's, be careful, don't let that one take over from the relationship program, or all this. So the awareness, and I love what you're saying, but the we don't change as humans. It's, we get in a rut. It's kind of human nature. So I love that you're bringing up programs, and I have a love hate relationship with programming, because I think uh, it's like the DOS operating system. I've heard it, and the other thing I have with holistic health, I don't like machine metaphors, but
Mhm.
they're so useful. Like this
Yeah.
one, a program, like a program on a computer. Like a computer's kind of where they were useless when they first came out, until there was the DOS operating system. Well, so then, like, you didn't have to be able to program a computer. And I think human is the same way. So I interrupted you a little bit, but I love that the whole idea of programming and changing the programming, and ongoing. It's really, it never ends. Paying attention to the.
No, you're right. It never ends. And that's the beauty of being human. It
Yeah,
never ends. To
yeah,
me, we're spiritual bodies in this physical, like we're human beings or spiritual beings in this human body. And we're here for expansion and fuller expression. That's what I believe.
yeah,
And it's our survival mechanism too, that either we're expanding or we're disintegrating. And I'm finding it's not just in the fitness and health and wellness industry. It's this work applies to every aspect of your life. And when you understand that your programs, they were installed by well-meaning parents who had their own programs, teachers, friends, coworkers. And when you start to become aware of your programs, like, is that really true? Like, is that really true? And start questioning them. Like, may I ask you a question?
I would love it.
Okay,
turn the
okay.
turn the
Okay,
turn the
I
tables.
love this. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love this. Well, so you said that it's human nature to, have these programs, and that it's human nature to, um, always be at a set point, right? Was I correct in that kind of assumption? It's human nature.
With the yeah, yeah, I think it is. It's a survival mechanism of learning. Like I said, if you had to make all those survival, the survival instincts, if you had to make all of the decisions that your subconscious makes consciously, you'd be overwhelmed in 10 seconds. Everything that's going on, reactions to facial expressions, to body language, to tone of voice. Our bodies are this amazing, so many uh stimuli, I guess, or things that we're able to notice, be aware of, and to have to make a decision on every single one is so it is. I think it's a survival mechanism. It is human nature to create these programs. We could call them programs that
Right.
help you survive it. I know, but I also think that, like any program, it could take off on its it can be off to the races,
Right.
and be, I think there's a balance between the program and the programmer, I guess. And
Exactly. So then my question to you is, do you believe then that you are in control of your programs, or are your programs controlling you?
So that I think it's a lifelong and in my work, and I'm working on I've been working on a book. It's almost published. It could be out by the time anybody hears this. And it's I mean, you really are. I don't want to get too deep into it, but your question was, do you have control over the programming, or does the programming have control over you? And it's yes, and I mean, and the more self-awareness that I've had, I mean, it's I still find myself after 20 years of very, very serious practice, like, wait a minute, these survival instinct programs of just reacting, or we were talking before about judgment, of just judging. You're judging this, don't like the way someone's riding their bicycle.
Yeah,
Why am I even thinking
I
about
agree with
stuff
you.
like that? It's like,
I agree with you. Yeah.
so it is. I mean, I think that's the fun too. And I think it's scary for some people because the programs, it is survival. This is how I made it. This is how my relationships work. This is how my business works. And I think that's where a lot of the meat is how do we expand that? How do we expand that ability to kind of take control? And I think there's a few things. For one, your body. You can follow your body. Like when I feel great and my body feels great, and I'm in a great mood and everything. If my energy's low, or I haven't had the right foods or anything, I could be way more reactive. Or I remember our kids when they hadn't eaten. You think, wait, this awesome kid always does everything they're told, and they're a little hungry, and they start misbehaving. It's like
Yeah.
I'm still like that. I get a little hungry and I start misbehaving. So their body, and then the social. There's always ups and downs in the social that if you just follow that, life's like a roller coaster. But I think the key for me for freedom is to not go on any of those roller coasters, and kind of, but it's easy in theory, but or it's simple, but not easy for me. Yeah.
So, Mark, what if you, whenever you're talking about these roller coasters, what if that's actually just the law of rhythm,
It is. I mean, I think it
spiritual
totally
law
is.
of rhythm?
It,
And
it,
whenever you're in it, it's like, it's easy to be on the high part, like you said, like everything's just ticking, and then there's the dip. And whenever people are in the dip, it's like, oh my gosh, that's the tendency to beat themselves up. They're full of shame, judging themselves, and, like you said, a little bit hangry or whatever it is,
yeah.
right? But the beautiful thing is with this work, when you understand that it's just the law of rhythm, and whenever you're on those dips, to give yourself space and grace, and that's where you're doubling down on meditation, breath work, rest, eat something healthy, whatever it is. Yeah, journal. Yeah, love it, love it. And it's how you have a relationship, or how you interact with the low, like the dips. That's just going to make the highs a little bit faster. And some people stay in the dip,
Yeah.
like they stay in the dip, or and just so it gives it, for me, with getting into this work and really digging deep into the spiritual laws. We're kind of all over the map here, but this is all good. But before I this work, when I was in the dip, I was beating myself up, and just not a nice place to be, and not a nice person to be around either. And then through this work and understanding that, hey, you know what, I'm just in the law of rhythm. It's going to pass, no biggie, and just give myself the space and grace and self care, whatever it is. And now the dips, they're a lot shorter. And now the dips are also, I'm having a different relationship with them. I'm interacting with them differently because I understand exactly what it is. And it's like, okay, I can move through this. So like you said, it's the awareness, and okay, this is just a spiritual law here in effect. And okay, I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah.
It's a different energy, right? Than somebody who's in the dip, and they're, all their nervous system is just going haywire, like a computer that's going me, like, all up. And to be able to manage that, understand it, and not to say that you're not, you experience the emotions, that's okay. But it's with that understanding, this is what's happening.
And so what you reminded, because we talked a lot of the practices, and you had mentioned journaling, I think before we got on, and it's something that I've done for a year. I mean, probably again, it's a 20-year practice. And I remember having lunch with a friend of mine. It was when I first started working on the book. I'm not going to say how long ago. It's embarrassing. It's 5 or 6 years ago. But I said, man, journaling, I get so much out of it, but it just seems like I don't have time. And we were at lunch. We were just kind of sharing. Like, I like to go to lunch with other people my age, just share ideas that are working. And he goes, yeah, yeah, we're all busy. So whenever you journal, about how long do you do it? And I thought about it, and I go, it's usually about 7 to 10 minutes. It's like, okay, I don't have 7 to 10 minutes to journal. And it's really, but that's a story, or it's a program. But I'm so busy and so busy. And then here's this practice that makes the whole day better. It doesn't matter if I do it in the morning, in the afternoon, when I'm stressed, when I'm feeling great, whatever. And it was just funny. And so that's why I love having those lunches, because you hear yourself say that. You're like, yeah, I don't have 7 minutes for journaling.
Exactly.
change the
Exactly.
yeah, change the program and start journaling. And so over since then, it's like I'm just almost, and then there's no pressure, because the other thing is on journals, like, well, I need to be a perfect journaler, so I have to have the lighting, I have to have the space and the candles and everything. It's like, no, just carry a notebook with you and scribble stuff down. So that's
Yeah, I love that. And I'm going to just add in something there. So let's add in another law, a spiritual law, the perpetual transmutation of energy. When you pick up your pen, and as you and I both know, energy travels to and through us. We're energetic beings. So, you're getting these downloads, and by the perpetual transmutation of energy right through your hand to your pen onto your paper, like that is, you're releasing energy. Think about it. Ice, if you put it in a pot and you boil it, it turns to water first, then to steam, then to rain, back down. And with journaling, you're going in that circle. So you're taking whatever energy it is, whether it's a positive idea or you're trying to get something negative out of you on paper, you're transmuting that energy. There is so much power, pen to paper. That's where the magic happens. So I thank you for talking about that, because yeah, there's another law in operation.
yeah. And thank you for tying it together with the energetic, the idea that everything's energy and energy's everything. Because a long time ago, you could just look at these as a laundry list of practices. You name something else: eating green and clean, journaling, meditating, going for walks outside, being in nature. You could just look at it as a list. But the way you just explained it, it's also, when you look at it within a systemic, an idea about the system of it. It's not just a list of things. They're all interconnected, and they are what connects us to each other and
Mhm.
the rest of the world. And that's the mindset, or the program, that I've had the biggest aha is, it started as a list of, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 this. And so I look at it as seeing the parts, which is the journaling, the weight training, the running, the meditating. And then the whole is like the whole list itself. So seeing the parts, seeing the whole, but then seeing with energy. And what you just said is seeing with energy. So it's not just some woo woo idea. It's a very, very uh, practical. It's practical. It's realistic. It's closer to reality than models that we were taught in school, or the social. This isn't out in the social. We haven't been trained unless we're taking your class.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
you
my
are
God.
training people. Training, it takes training. It's not like you should read a paragraph about it and go, oh, okay, that's what it is. It takes tons of training. It's always funny when I think about how much training I've done and how much the programs or everything's still it's a lot of fun. I mean, I think it makes it fun and exciting, the humility of and humor. That's why I love humor, because this self-awareness, it does kind of takes a little bit of the pain away to look at like, oh, this is how I behave in certain situations. I'm not always the great communicator or the great listener, but yeah, fun.
Yeah,
So
fun.
so the energy, so you also had I wanted to talk a little bit about mind, body, and soul. And I think when we talked before the interview a couple weeks ago, that you had there were four pillars of your work. Would you mind going into what the four pillars are, kind of
Oh,
how they work together? I wanted to hear more about that for sure.
oh, okay. Love that. Thank you for that question. So what Mark's talking about is actually my third business, and it's called the Wealthy Academy. So I say everyone needs to be wealthy. WELLTHY.
I love that. Yeah,
Double meaning, right? Like money is just energy, and we need it, and we can do a lot of good with money. So let's just drop all the paradigms around, money's the root of all evil, and people that have a lot of money, they had to mess around with people to get it, and it's all a lot of negative around it. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money
right.
is just energy.
Yeah,
Money is
and
just
and even
energy.
that you have to work really hard and burn yourself out.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, another paradigm. Yeah,
Another paradigm. So with the Wealthy Academy, the one of the pillars is the mind, and that's mindset. And I work with clients to make sure that they have a solid mindset. They understand the foundations of how to build a solid mindset. We do this through a very simple process, and understanding this is very simplistic, but it's very powerful. If you visualize, and if I had to know we were going this way, can I have a second just to look at
sure,
something?
sure.
To
Yeah,
sorry, hang on a second here. Hang on. All right. Got it right here. Sorry, it's just a piece of paper. So this is a very simple diagram of a stick person. Okay. We just talked about it. Energy is always traveling to and through us.
I love it.
So the top part right here, so this is very simplistic, so please bear with me. The top part is your conscious mind. So that's your thinking mind. So as this energy comes in to your being, in your conscious mind, you have the ability to choose. Either you're going to choose a negative thought or you're going to choose a positive thought. So you are a magician because you're always working with this energy. Then the thought creates the feeling, subconscious. So the subconscious has no power. It can only take orders from your thoughts.
Yeah,
So we call the subconscious the heart of hearts or the womb of creation, because your subconscious can create a picture. Like if I was to describe to you that, oh my gosh, you're being chased by this bear, you don't even have to have a bear. And if you really had a good imagination, you could get your body in a fight or flight just like that, thinking
yeah,
about it. So that comes from the subconscious. Your thoughts then impressed into the subconscious, which is the feeling part. Okay. So the feeling part then sets up the vibration of your body. So you feel like, oh my God, I'm scared. So now all of a sudden your body's just like, you're buzzing around. So the vibration is what causes you to act. And then, of course, the universe reacts. And so your results always tell an interesting story, because from your results, you can tell what you're thinking. The law of cause and effect, right? What's the cause? Your thoughts. The effect is what's happening around you in your 3D world. So you change your thoughts, which changes your program. Your results are going to change, but results that stick. Okay. So now If you choose a negative thought, fear, doubt, and worry causes anxiety, which causes dis-ease in your body.
Right.
So that's this side. But then on the beautiful side of, you've got the power to decide whatever you want to choose. So you choose a positive thought. So you have knowledge
That's
based
awesome.
on understanding because you study. Like I'm telling you now about how these universal laws are working through this very simple stick person, right? So then you have faith. Faith is, fear is faith turned upside down. So you've got this faith. Like I always am journaling calm expectancy because I always expect the best, and calm faith. Like it's not like this faith, like I'm calm. And of course, being around Vicky, who we just talked about, she's like the calming force, right? And then this causes the well-being. So in this very simple diagram, you learn about cause and effect. The cause is your thoughts, effect is what is happening in the 3D world. So the people that I'm working with is in the health part of it all, and I entrepreneurs too, is that their program is lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. So they're looking at their physical world saying, well, Leanne, I've done it like 10 times before. What is going to change this time? Well, so they're looking at circumstance and thinking that that is true. Well, it is true because your thoughts are creating it over and over again. Right? Like they come to work with me and it's like, oh yeah, here we go. I'm going to do this again. And yeah, I'm going to add in a bit of willpower. Willpower only works to a certain degree. And I know I'm going to hit my goal and I'm going to go back. Like, honestly, if they were really honest with themselves, that would be like low grade infection that's, humming right here, even though outwardly they're doing all the right things. So that's why, to me, whenever you really want to have results that stick, whether it's financially or with your health or relationships, it's an inside job. It's this.
Yeah,
And then, so does this make sense? So then this sets up the law of vibration, right? Or the law of attraction. So you attract to how you feel, not how you think, but how you feel.
I love
So
it.
then this now causes the law of attraction. So you're going to attract whatever it is that that you're looking for.
I love it.
And then holding the thought, right, through the perpetual transmutation of energy. Now you want to change your self-image from like we talked about at the beginning. If you're set at 72 and you want to move up to 80, you got to write it out. So by the perpetual transmutation of energy, you're taking this energy, you're turning it into a thought. I am, confident, or whatever it is. I am healthy. I am healthy. So you keep that thought, and it's like a coffee grind. Like, when you have a bodum, you're pushing that thought into your subconscious mind, the womb of creation. Your subconscious mind doesn't know if it's true or not, but it has to accept whatever thought that you're thinking.
I've heard the metaphor that your subconscious mind, it doesn't have a choice. So it just records everything is true. Basically,
Yeah.
everything is true. So it doesn't get to decide true or false. So
No.
whatever you let in there, subconscious just goes, okay, true, stimulus, because it just doesn't work that way. So you have to. And I love, so my model is about enhancing 6 human gifts, which I would say is self-awareness and imagination. And those are all in there because the imagination is what sort of creates that thought, that creates the fear. It's in your mind. It's usually fear's imagined. It's not real. And your inner voice, that your inner voice isn't always you. Sometimes it's social, sometimes it's, so you can train that inner voice. And then really what you're saying, you have the power of choice, which all of these are like muscles. You can build your self-awareness. So how do you build your self-awareness muscle? How do you build your imagination muscle? How do you build your inner voice muscle, your choice muscle, and then kinesthetic sense? And I think that's one that you brought into that. There's a feeling with it. Once that thought goes to imagination and it becomes fear or something else, it's that thing. So you can train that. And it's not just, it's funny, one of my best meditations is strength training, because you don't have, you have to be focused. If there's so much weight, and I used to, when I was really young and we've had some unhealthy practices, but to get stronger, you can imagine that there was a car that you were trying to lift off of somebody who you love that was hurt. And it's like all of a sudden your body gets this extra strength that you didn't have when you were just lifting weights in the gym. And so the sixth one is a sense of humor, because it's really how this all works is in order to play with it. And I think it's a gift. It's not just humans have it too, because animals will play, animals will play fight. Like you play fight, but they're building their skills. And so I think that sense of humor, is something that can really uh and it can open the possibility. Like I'm willing to look at those things because I know, it could be funny, it could be fun. So that's what
Oh,
my rule number 7 is. That rule number 1 is enjoy the journey, laugh hard and laugh often. So it's
oh my
funny because
gosh.
it's rule number 7, but it's rule number 1. Why is it number 7? Have fun, but yeah.
Oh, I love that.
You're when I saw that diagram, I was like, wow, we're like the same idea of just using energy, because again, it's how do you work with energy without just being like, oh, I have great energy. No, you're
Yeah.
it's training. So you have developed ways to train in those
Yes.
areas, right? And train your thought. So first, I have to ask you. Your pen, it looks like a crystal or something. I have to
It
ask.
is, it is, it is, it is, it is. This is a rose quartz. And as you can see, all this stuff here behind me, these are all my
Oh,
women unfolding, and it's all kind of in the rose quartz color scheme. It always reminds me that we're always unfolding, and there's like we're here for expansion and fuller expression. And like you said, it's the journey, and have fun along the way and laugh at yourself.
yeah, yeah, it
Right?
really, yeah. And then humor, it's humility. Uh, yeah, some of were my most embarrassing moments is where I thought I was all that, and I really wasn't. Um, so I wanted to. So did we talk about the 4 pillars?
No, we didn't, because I'm so sorry. I got so passionate about
Yeah,
the mindset
and then
pillar.
and that just made me think, oh wow, this is energy, this is choice, this is imagination,
Yes. Yes.
kinesthetic
Oh,
sense, that felt sense, like all these things that you're talking about training. And you don't hear, there's not very many circles where you hear people who've done the work to create a program. And then it's also that you're attracting people, because that's the other thing. When I was working with Vicky, it was in a master's degree, and it was a group of people. And because of our commitment level to exploring these kind of, in 2000, it wasn't as much as it is today, what people are talking about, complementary and alternative therapies or meditation. There was only a couple studies in like the late 60s, 1969, Herbert Benson. Well, now I think last year there were like 2,000 studies on meditation. So but it was that group of people that were so willing to kind of trust each other, because there's things in this that you share or that come up. So it's not just the practice, it's like it's creating the right group of
oh,
people to create this. So share a little bit about that, about how people are attracted, or how you get
oh,
to work with groups like that.
love, 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 love. So that is, to me, it's not by accident that we are connected through Vicky. Like it's not by accident that I'm here today. It's not by accident that you reached out. It's not by accident, because energetically there is something there. Obviously, beautiful. We're blessed that it was connected through Vicky, but it's not by accident, right? So the second pillar, so this goes into the second pillar now. So the first pillar of the Wealthy Academy is the mindset. And I go deep into teaching about the mindset with the spiritual laws, and how, we dance through life with understanding that very simple stick figure,
I love it.
and then how that works with the spiritual laws. The second pillar is energy. So we're talking about energy
Mm,
so most people are reacting to life. They're going with their five senses: what they see, what they smell, what they hear, what they taste, and what they touch, and they're reacting to it. So think about it. You're looking at something on the news, you're reacting to it. So most people are in the reaction state a lot of the times. Now, what you're talking about, the gym for your mind and energy, So we have 6 higher faculties that we have at our disposal, and these are part of in your book, right? Imagination. Imagination is my best business tool. 100%.
Yeah.
Second is intuition, right? Imagination, those two are those are my superpowers, imagination and intuition. The third one is reason. Then we've got memory, perception. Okay, so it's these higher faculties that we start to learn to tap into. And so that's what I start to teach people in this program, in this work, is how to use your imagination for you to create the results that you want. Because, like you just said, it creates this energy of attraction, it sets up the law of attraction. How then do you use your intuition? I call it the bridge of incidents. So, in your imagination, which I call in my world like the fourth dimension, like let's just have some fun with it, right? We're here in the third dimension, physical world. How do you bring in your imagination down to the 3D world, to our physical world? And it's called the bridge of incidents. Like you'll start to see signs, right? And you signs that it's coming. And you'll know intuitively that this is what's happening. That's why I said I'm every day I write out calm expectancy, because I'm expecting the bridge of incidents to reveal itself to me every day, that my goal is coming. My goal of health is coming. My goal of business is coming, whatever it is. So think about it. If remember when Columbus was, out in the middle of ocean, and, he doesn't know where land is, but he started to see signs, birds that were habitat on land.
Right.
And then he would see twigs in the water. So he knew, oh, okay, there's land, it's coming. And that's what I'm talking. So people start to learn how to use their energy for them. And then, oh, okay, we take it from our imagination, use intuition, look for the bridge of incident signs that the goal is coming. And that's the second pillar of the Wealthy Academy. The third pillar is how to nourish your body. I don't talk about diet. That language does not exist for me. It's how do you nourish your body? Like, how do you support it, not deprive it, or I can't have this, or I can't have that. It's like, how do you nourish your body? And the fourth pillar, as you know, 40 years with the it's how do you move your body? It's not about fitness anymore. It's how do you move your body? And with the background that I have, I'm also a registered massage therapist too. So I prescribe now at this stage in my career, I prescribe exercise programs or movement programs for people. It's not just, just kind of like, okay, I want to work out this, biceps or whatever it is, build a bigger butt. It's like I prescribe based on history.
Why is building a bigger butt so popular?
I know. J-Lo has a cream out for it. I'm like, whoa, holy crap. It's like, I don't know. The booty's a big thing. I have to say it. Like I see it here at the clinic or at the gym, like the young girls that are here, they're all like building their butts. Like that's what they're doing. It's so cute. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I have kids from 19 to 29. My daughter's 22, and we train. We don't always train together, but whenever they're in town, they come to my gym. We usually work out, but she was doing these exercises and she's like, this is what I'm doing. This is for your butt. And I'm like, what? When did that become a thing? You just mentioned it. So it's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing.
Yeah.
So there's another trend, right? That coming down the pipe, right?
Totally. So it's one of the, now it's butt's popular. It's going to go to legs, back to, it was chest. When I was training, it was always like, how much can you bench press?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So it's still my favorite exercise, even though it's how I've been injured. It's how, it's not a great exercise, but it's like, how much can you bench? So the bench, butt is the new bench.
But I love that, Mark. Butt is the new bench. I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to start using that. Thank you. I can borrow that. That's brilliant.
So I love it. I love those. I love that you call it well, WELL, wealthy.
Yeah.
And it's really the point of my book is I call it the proven path to pursuing your potential for peace and prosperity, because
Oh,
there's not this idea that it's one or the other. And I also like alliterations. It's a great way to remember things. And then
yes.
there's a proven path because, throughout the years, and studying with masters, a lot of different traditions sort of have this same path, which is looking at your worldview, looking at your mission and vision, looking at how you speak is a big part of it. Have your speech to yourself, your body language, like all these different forms of speech, the words you choose, and but taking action, but just all these, and then you have to make money at some point, so that has to be a chapter, and then, but anyways, I love it. I just everything about what you're saying resonates.
Oh,
It's a different,
yeah. And same with
yeah,
you. Like, man, he's just looking at it from a different point of view. So another
yeah.
perspective.
And I think my clients, so another, you're helping me connect. I've never been in the wellness or fitness industry other than a consumer or just a passion. I'd be like fanatic. I've been fanatical about I would call it a holistic approach. And what does that have
Mhm.
to do with my business or my clients? But I think if you're up to big things, if you want to start a company, start a movement or a family, I think adjusting your mindset, having a holistic and the spiritual part too, about not just living a life, but making a contribution that lasts for forever. And so I know, we had some challenges setting up this meeting, and I'm going to ask you the question about, well, first, your we were trying to get a call ahead of time, and your husband fell down playing hockey or something, and then you lost an important member of your family, and you shared some of that about with me early, and I really would love it if you could, kind of tie it back together with that spiritual piece of a life well lived and
Okay.
the ups and the downs, because we were at a down, right? We were at like the we were expecting abundance. We were sharing. There was a space. I wanted to be a space for you, and we had some real life experience. So please
Yeah,
share,
we did.
share that.
Oh, thank you, Mark. And it's so beautiful that we connected, because even through the texts, I thought this is a very special man, because you had compassion and you had understanding, and I already felt it before we even met. So I'm just going to put that out there right away. That's the energy that you give. And one of the things that I journal every day, and I revealed a few: calm expectancy, calm confidence, I'm all in, I attract, I ask for guidance always. And this is the last one: I am unmoved by circumstance. So circumstance must give way.
Mm,
And it's the law of opposites. So you and I, we were connecting to have a beautiful experience together. It's beautiful. The law of opposites has to come in, right? The light, the dark. And so what came in, we were supposed to meet. My husband fractured his hip. I'm in the hospital. The poor guy's in pain. And this is our first interaction. I can't be there, Mark. I'm sorry. And then I get a beautiful text, with full of compassion and love. And it's like, we'll connect a little bit later on. It's all good. And so I was unmoved by circumstance. Like, my husband had this, I just knew I was in the law of opposites. And what else was happening is that I was having a big master class that following week. And everyone is like, Leanne, are you sure you can do this? Like, holy snaps, you've been in the hospital all weekend. And I'm like, nope, I've got this. Like, I'm unmoved by circumstance. So circumstance must give way. And it was like the best masterclass that I ever had. So it's just like, how am I responding, not reacting? Because I'm responding, because I'm in control, right? I'm unmoved by all of this, law of opposites that's all around me. I'm in control. And then we rescheduled. We had a nice little chat on the phone, and that was again beautiful. So I went in and I set up a podcast, which was for Monday. Today's Friday. And I had to reschedule it because I was releasing my beloved dog of the physical world. And I was, that's the gift that we can give our pets, is that we can euthanize them and release them to the spiritual realm. And so, I had, again, I had to reschedule. Circumstance came up, and I'm not saying that that's the law of opposites, but, something did come up between that. We did the podcast. Again, you were gracious because you have a pet too. You understood. And so the beautiful thing that came out of that was another thing that I journal, and Mark and I had a conversation before we came onto the podcast. And one of the things that I journal every day is that I'm really trying hard to be non-judgmental. It's one of the 4 agreements, right?
Yeah.
Don't judge. I don't judge myself. I don't judge situations. I try. I can't say that I'm 100%, but I really try. I'm driving down. If I wasn't in fitness, I'd be in fashion. So I'm driving home and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's that person wearing? And I'm like, stop it, Leanne, stop. I snap my fingers. Nope. I'm sending that person love. Like, holy snaps, Mark. I only live 3 kilometers away from the clinic. And sometimes I'm snapping my fingers so hard to get me out of that judgment. I'm like, it's so funny, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so because I am really trying hard not to judge, and I shouldn't say hard, I'm being more aware. See, be impeccable with your word.
Right.
Being more aware, because then the law of opposites, hard, easy, right? So anyway, I gotta
Right.
be.
Yeah.
So
It's
anyway,
another judgment. They're everywhere. Yeah.
Anyway, just being aware.
Yeah.
So then if you're aware of how much judgment that you're in of everything, imagine what your day would be like, how much freedom you would have because you're not judging, right? It's like, wow, like you've got so much creative space opened up to you. So after I write, I'm, I no longer judge. And then I said, I am free. I am free because, like what we just talked about, like I'm free. I've got all this creativity. I've got all this open space in my head, in my mind, in my being, because I'm not judging. And, you never know whenever you're journaling how it's going to play out. Like, here's the thing. I thought it was one way because I'm not judging. And the whole, how I'm tying this into releasing my dog that I had for 14 years is because I'm an energy worker. Like I was with him energetically the whole time when he was transitioning. And I asked him, I said, give me a sign that you're okay. And when I left and I was walking home, because the vet clinic is close to my house, I had this experience of freedom that I can't even put into words. I know it was spiritual freedom. I know what it's like to be on the other side. And honestly, we have nothing to fear in death. It's just we're just transitioning into a different form, perpetual transmutation of energy. We come down to physical, we're released to spiritual, we disintegrate. And anyway, so it was, and I knew, and I said to my husband, I said, and my dog's name is Rocky. I said, Rocky's with us right now. Rocky is giving me the sign that this is what he feels like. This is what it's like on the other side. And it was just like, I was at peace. Like I had such a sense of peace again that I've never experienced before. I just put my dog down and here I am, like at this sense of peace, this freedom, like it was just reverberating from me. And so what I wanted to say to that, so that was a beautiful gift that he gave me. And and I'm sharing it with you today. I think this is the first time publicly that I've ever talked about it. But it's just, again, it's pen to paper. I thought I am free meant this because I'm free of judgment, and so now I'm free. But look at how it showed up.
Yeah.
Something bigger and better.
Yeah. And the gift of Rocky and your relationship and the energetic relationship and the gift of one life and the ultimate, really the ultimate transmutation of energy, is passing to the other side. So I thought that was so beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. Um it's it's just beautiful. And we're actually I want to ask you, I meant to ask you, you say you're an energy worker, you're a Reiki practitioner, right? Are you trained in Reiki, or did I?
Yeah, Reiki master and a level 3 therapeutic touch.
Wow. So
Yeah.
I want to host an entire different episode just on Reiki and therapeutic drug, because I've never therapeutic touch. Well, because I think that's a huge. There's so much. I've heard so. I'm not a Reiki practitioner, but I've had Reiki, and then massage. Massage is part of my. I mean, I try to get a massage at least once a month. Just, and again, it's energy exchange, and most massage practitioners are gifted energy, even if they don't call it energy. It is. It's energy work. So say a little bit about Reiki. We got a few extra minutes. We could go a few minutes longer, because I'd love to hear just
Oh,
about Reiki and massage and energy, because I think that's a great way, I think, for somebody to dive in, if to have a treatment or energy treatment. Or so
mhm.
share a little bit about Reiki, and then what is the best way to connect with you and your is it three companies or four? You have four of the fitness, three
Yeah.
companies. So there's the
Staying
Wealth
Alive
Academy.
Fitness, yeah, and then there's Staying Alive Wellness Clinic. Because I mean, look at it. We're in that zone, right? In that staying alive, staying alive.
Oh, I love Staying Alive.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite songs. Yeah. So now I'm not thinking about a bear anymore. I'm thinking about the spandex with the what did you call it? You didn't.
the G string.
Yeah, I call it something else
Okay.
that rhymes with flosser, but
Yeah.
it's
There you
a G string on the outside.
go. The
Yeah,
outside of the pants. That's what we used to do.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so then so I have a physical, like I'm here at the gym right now, the club, and we turned it into a wellness clinic during COVID so that I could stay open. I had to pivot my business. You got to be smart, like, and be able to pivot. So the gym wouldn't have survived, but under being a wellness clinic, you were essential. So I quickly changed the business model. That's a whole other story. And then during COVID too, that's when I opened the Wealthy Academy. And that's whenever I got into the coaching seriously. So I do have three businesses. So I am a serial entrepreneur, even though, hey, I'm, into the spiritual and all of that, but it's part of it. Money's just energy. And when it comes to massage and working on somebody's physical body, and I'm going to say that I'm not. I was trained. I went back to school to be a registered massage therapist. So I've got all the theory, right? So let's go masculine, feminine energy right here, okay? How the two dance together. I went to school for 2 years. So, all of okay, here's the anatomy, here are the techniques. This is how you treat a frozen shoulder. I've got all the strategy. So that's very left-brained masculine energy. And it never sat right with me whenever I was doing it. So I always judged myself because I was like, yeah, I don't do all these tests that all these other massage therapists do. Like, I just move on intuition, right? Because I told you, intuition and imagination, those are my two superpowers of the 6 higher faculties. And then the feminine energy started to come through, and I had already been in therapeutic touch and Reiki before I became a massage therapist. So all I would do is, I'm just a vessel that the energy just goes to and through, and it just goes through my hands. It's not me. It is not me. I'm just the physical conduit. That's it. And even when you're talking about, that image or whatever, that's not me. That's just spirit to and through me. It's not me. And so whenever I'm working on somebody's beautiful physical body, whatever shape it is, it doesn't matter to me. I always ask for guidance, intuition, guide me. And that's how I approach my massage. Yes, I'm a regulated healthcare professional. I'm here in Canada. So I'm a registered massage therapist. So I've got all the credentials. And I'm grateful that I have it because that it gives me an edge. I know the anatomy, I know the techniques. But when I'm approaching somebody, it's through intuition, and it's through feeling. And I massage and color comes to me. That's how it is for me. Like I understand, and I can tell, certain things about the body, like, and it's just intuition. Like there was one client that I had, I said, not that I know anything and I'm not allowed to diagnose, but maybe the next time when you go to the doctor, ask about your liver. Sure enough, there was something going on with the liver, and he came back to me. How did you know? I just, the body talks to you if you're
Yeah.
open to it, right? It tells you a story.
Mm.
And so that's how I approach massage. And I'm not everybody does, because some people are really clinical, and that's perfect. Like they need that in the physiotherapy clinics. You need to have the massage therapists like boom, boom, boom. We're working on this exactly. And we need those type of massage therapists too. But I'm kind of more the
I love that.
like
Yeah.
that.
And yeah, the certifications, it is masculine, and it's machine body metaphor. You're looking at the body as this machine where your body's really this energetic tool, and you're doing both. That's why I would love to I would love to hear more. So we are out of time, but I love this visit, Leanne Monaghan. 3 different businesses. We'll have ways to get in touch with you on all 3 on our show notes. But thank you so much. This is I had high expectations for this conversation going in, but it blew my mind. I don't know how because my expectations, my judgments, my prejudgments ahead of time were through the roof. But this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on the Dow Pizza.
Oh, Mark, thank you. It's been my honor and my privilege. Oh my goodness. And you're just such a, even through the text and before we even met in person, and thank you for being so gracious, all of the circumstance that I was dealt beforehand. It's been amazing. And I can hardly wait till your book is published, because it works exactly with what I'm doing. So it's going to be part of my 6 a.m. club. Recommended reading. Recommended reading. We'll talk about that on the next one, on the next podcast.
Yeah, and I definitely want to have you back. There's a ton of stuff here. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Tao of Pizza podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.